So I hope I have the audio figured out. And we're not like triple, quadruple echoing here. You'll have to let me know how it sounds on the YouTubes. And if you hear a leaf blower, they just knew. They knew I was starting a stream at 2 o'clock. So they, what's up everybody? So they said, let's make sure to be leaf blowing at exactly 2 o'clock, because that's just how to just mess this up. So we've got an interesting market across the board right now, I think. It's very strange to me that everything's going up together. I don't really understand that part of it. I think something's got to give eventually to see dollar continue to rise, and even with crypto rising is kind of strange to me. But we'll talk about it. Let's start with the dollar, I guess. You know, I feel like I talk about the same thing every week, just because not too much changes generally, at least with my strategies. You know, I'm not looking at the 15-minute or the 4-hour even. So we'd been tracking this potential head and shoulders, bottom, channel, bearish, whatever, you know, kind of hoping that this didn't pan out. But so far it very much looks like it is panning out. As some of you are pointing out, you know, the euro's in trouble, Europe's in trouble. The dollar continues to be the best place for most people to be relative to their own fiat currencies. So that's certainly helping. But normally that doesn't help crypto at all. So maybe this is just a short-term burst. You know, the other question is, what's with the ETF stuff? Does somebody know something in the background that isn't public yet? What's going on with Binance? Listen, if you've got coins on an exchange where the C-suite is a revolving door, please do yourself a favor, even if it's temporary. You know, you may be a Binance enjoyer, have been for years. Just do yourself a favor. Maybe move somewhere else temporarily, you know? Just a suggestion, not investment advice. But just help yourself. That's not to say they aren't solvent. I think they're fine. It's just you never know what sort of legal entanglements you're going to get yourself into. Anyway, yeah, the dollar looks crazy strong, which leads me to believe that crypto will not be super strong. You know, we need more of this for crypto to be strong, more of this like head and shoulders-y stuff at the top, or some sort of top signal. Just not seeing that at all. I mean, if anybody's got some bearish DXY technicals, I'd love to hear about it, but really not seeing that. Even when rates come down next year, you know, it'll be interesting to see. So the Eurozone is still raising, right? I think the ECB just announced that they were raising. Even with that, you know, the dollar's still getting stronger, and the Fed is unlikely to raise next week. So it's going to be tough. It's an uphill battle. Rates are probably going to be higher in the United States for quite some time. You're going to have people sending money to money markets, treasury bills, whatever, right? Anything that isn't crypto. So that certainly hurts us. But just from a technical perspective, DXY looks phenomenal. I don't even think a bear div is going to matter. You know, this thing just looks really good. Undeniably, I wish crypto looked like this. Crypto is the inverse, right? Bitcoin looks basically the inverse of that. It's not a surprise. So this could keep going for a very long time, you know? Yeah, I'm not an expert on the whole treasury situation. One question I have about the treasuries when they issue them, how do they decide the duration that they're issued at. For instance, the US government, can say, here's a treasury auction, I'm selling 3-month something, right? 3-month T-bills or whatever, versus 10-year or 30-year. I don't know if there's any like rules for that, or that's all just at their discretion. I assume it's up to them. I think originally they had said they want to stay at the low end of the curve because they don't want to compete with banks and bank reserves, and there's clearly a demand for stuff at the low end of the curve. I don't know. That whole thing is, I don't understand that part of the market. What's up, Fed? The leaf blower is killing my vibe, guys. It's just straight up killing my vibe. It was silent the entire day, and anyway, sorry about that. Nothing I can do, unfortunately. So that's the dollar. Until I see anything on the dollar turning down, I can't be super bullish crypto. Maybe this is a rising wedge on technicals. I don't know. So, we're waiting for Binance. Is something going to happen there? We're waiting for the dollar to turn down. We're waiting for an ETF announcement. I just think it could be a long time before before we see some interesting stuff in this market. As for oil, I think it's unusual that the dollar and the oil are both super strong. It makes sense that the oil is strong. Oil demand is extremely high. I think it's at an all-time high globally. They're purposely restricting supply on the cartel side of things. And the technicals were there. We can talk about cartel this, cartel that all you want, but this was there before those OPEC supply reductions were there. The idea that this could be bottoming was there as early as May. So we're finally seeing that on higher time frames. Maybe there's some sort of like ABCD type thing as well here. I have a feeling if it gets close to 100, things are going to get interesting. But it looks like it might. It looks super bullish. Demand up, supply down. I mean, that's just kind of what you'd expect, right? I think Biden also announced that they weren't giving licenses to somebody in Alaska. I can't remember. But another hit for the supply side, right? Because we're not letting people drill in Alaska or whatever. Technicals look great. Looks great on the daily. Looks great on higher time frames. What is it on, like, just looking at the 3-day for some edge to edge. But it looks really good. It looks really, really good. And that's not good for inflation. And we're seeing that with the latest inflation print coming higher. Thanks, Eddie. He can't hear me anyway. Yeah, gasoline demand may have peaked, but prices certainly. AAA, the insurance company in the United States, they do this weekly survey. I'm just trying to pull it up. One of the things that was concerning to me was gasoline prices at the pump continuing to rise over the past, 5 years, right? This is a 5-year high for gas prices at this point in time. There's always some seasonality component to it. There's lots of factors, obviously, right? But this is scary. I don't personally drive a lot, if at all, so it doesn't really affect me, but I know it affects, thousands, millions of people in the United States for sure. So that's also a problem with inflation, to see that where it is. And the trend is continuing to rise, kind of irrespective of seasonality, I guess. I don't know. It's not good. Something interesting just to track. I think many people are aware because they drive a lot anyway, and they notice gas prices rising. And if you're in, trying trying to pull up this chart. If you're in the west side of the country, just forget it, right? Your gas prices are insane. California, $5.50 on average. Get out of here, right? That's just crazy. Anyway, so yeah, it hurts everybody. It hurts the inflation picture. Longer term, it keeps inflation higher. But what are we gonna do? Talk about the the SPR. The SPR stuff is such a doomer narrative. The thing is, like, if the SPR is empty and we need oil and gas, my whole thing is the government's just going to nationalize it. Like, at the end of the day, that's like the end goal. Not the end goal, but there's always that option. It's a nuclear option, but it's not like if we need something all of a sudden we don't have ways to get it, right? That's just me. What is it in Canada? Yeah, I don't even know. They do like what? Something per liter? I can't remember. I used to drive through Canada a lot, but yeah, I don't. Anyway, that's oil. Oil, gas, it's not the same, but it's similar, and the technical picture continues to be bullish. I don't even think there's there's not even a div on this yet, right? There's no low momentum here. Everybody's kind of already bullish energy, which kind of makes me a little less bullish, but it is what it is, right? Supply and demand, just basic economics. And that's the benefit of having the cartel, right? They can restrict supply purposefully. Maybe it's political, maybe it's not, whatever. It is what it is, but that's not going to help inflation in the near term for sure. And I think the question in everybody's mind regarding inflation is like, okay, we probably aren't going back to 2%, maybe ever. This is trueflation. So like, what's the acceptable range? And what are we going to do? Are we just going to change our target, or are we going to change the equation? Like, what's going on here? Because if energy prices go up, we don't have that saving us anymore. Yeah, I mean, energy independence, Joey, you're right. I'm super pro nuclear. I think that's kind of our only option, but I don't think the country's ready for that. But yeah, this picture, it looks like it's certainly bottomed for now. There's some housing data that's going to come flowing through this that's going to bring it down. But I'm sure the energy data is going to offset that, and we can already kind of see that. I think if we look at just the gasoline component, it's clearly rolling its way in to the data. But the housing data hasn't quite made it through the CPI data point yet. So that's why we have this difference here. But Trueflation's been really good, at least showing the direction. It may be off by X% in any given month, but it was a pretty good hit rate over the past year plus, right? I know a lot of people give Trueflation crap for being totally wrong. Well, not really. It's just slightly different measurement. Just an interesting data point, right? So if Trueflation starts to take off and rates are still at 5.25, that's when we're in trouble, because then what do we do? Do we keep raising? Is that even going to help, right? If we keep raising and we think it's going to help and we just crash the economy, that's not what we want. So I don't know. I certainly don't envy the Fed. I think they messed up massively by waiting way too long to raise in the first place, but that's a whole other conversation. So yeah, if oil does go to 100 plus, throw that inflation, deflationary narrative, whatever you want to call it, out the window. But if you are, a geopolitical chess player, I think it's to their advantage if oil goes higher, obviously. So we'll see. We will see what we're going to do here. But rising energy is going to bring food prices higher. It's going to bring transportation higher. It's going to bring manufacturing higher, right? Everything's just going to continue to creep up. So that's not going to be good for the longer term picture. And I know somebody's talked about it somewhere, but when you look at historically when dollar has been strong and oil has been strong, I think that's a bad sign. But I could be way off base there. I just have to look at it myself or find the data. But I don't think it's. I think it's unusual to see that, but I could be way wrong. It's also weird that the S&P is kind of just chilling, right? Maybe it's because everybody's just too bearish. I don't know. Like this looks like it wants to break down, but it just isn't, you know? This isn't something where if I see this, I'm like, yeah, everything looks fine. No, I see this and I'm like, whoa, this we could be in trouble here. And then, you know, we turn on the cloud and we're above the cloud. Yes, bearish TK cross, maybe bullish TK cross soon. That's a go long signal. That's a very, very bullish go long signal if we get a bullish TK cross with price above the cloud, you know, a bullish TK recross. So I don't really know what to think about this because the potential chart pattern says be careful, the cloud says be careful, but if I'm just trading the cloud, ignoring everything, right? You're just on a deserted island. You see the cloud once a day. If we get a go long signal up here, you know, things could get really interesting. In the back of my mind, I'm always thinking politically because there's an election coming up, right? What's going to matter more? Gas at $10 a gallon, bread at $10 a bag, or the S&P at all-time highs, you know? I mean, it's crazy to think that maybe all those things can happen at once. I don't know. One of the reasons I look at technicals the most is because they make the most sense to me. I can't really predict what's going to happen everywhere else. Even using the word predict on this stuff is risky, but we're just looking at trends here. And the trend still looks very good. I mean, look at the trend for the tech stuff as well. Same sort of thing. It looks like it wants to roll over, it wants to mean revert, but it just won't, you know? It just absolutely won't. So I don't know. I'm just, it's a weird time. You know, it doesn't look strong. It looks like a small gust of wind could blow over this entire market. And you don't want to be caught on the wrong side of that, obviously. But you also can't ignore the strength. I just don't know how long strength in equities can last if the dollar is going to 110, you know? If rates truly are at 5.25 for 6 months. I don't know. Maybe it is priced in, Joey. Yeah, the Fed is using lagging data, but they also have access to, you know, nowcast stuff, right? Predictive models. And I don't know. I don't know what they're doing over there. It doesn't make sense to me that they waited so long to raise. Yeah, I think it is bad if oil goes up. I think it's bad for the inflation picture, for the middle class, right? It's bad for all that. I think it's good if you want renewables, if you want alternative energy. If oil is cheap forever, we're never going to get off oil. If oil starts to get expensive and it's painful to use it and all this other stuff, then people will seek alternatives, right? There's some sort of incentive there to get off oil. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Obviously, it's terrible to live through that transition if we're trying to go to something else, but in the near term, you know, it shouldn't be good for anybody if oil goes to 100 plus. That's for sure. Yeah, Joey. Yeah, no, I agree. They, I don't know what they're doing over there. I was trying to think, like, if you were elected president, would you get rid of Powell on the basis that he was super late to do anything? Or would you keep him in there to try to maintain, you know, market stability? I think if you look at his approval rating, similar to like Bernanke and Greenspan, his approval rating is the lowest historically of the three ever, and it's, you know, only going lower by over time. So I don't think he has a lot of friends, but I don't know. Just interesting that our policies are like the most important part of our policies are dictated by just like randomness, basically. We're not. They say they're looking at data. The data's all over the place. The data's lagging. The data gets revised over and over again. Whatever. So it's dollar. That's oil. I had these as well. So this is the Magnificent Seven or whatever. Elite Eight, we'll call them. And Apple had been doing really well, obviously. I know everybody's here for crypto. I know that, but I don't have anything good to say about crypto right now. I just don't. Apple's going through it. I had that headline that may or may not have been fabricated from the Wall Street Journal, where they said that Chinese government workers can't use Apple. This could be, you tell me what that looks like. Okay, am I crazy, or are we talking about what I think we're talking about here, potentially for Apple on lower time frames? I just can't help myself, I can't see that and think, yeah, this'll go well, this'll be okay. It's just going to cancel that. Until it's back above the daily cloud, then I think it's very much a be careful with anything that looks like that. Microsoft looks a little better, right? It's starting to get back above the cloud. Nvidia's kind of like Binance for me. Like, it's been fun, you made your money, time to move on, at least in the moment. I don't think this looks like it's going to collapse anytime super soon, but it's just not for me anymore. I got out at like 435 a few months ago, whenever that was. So it can go to 800 without me, I guess, but this thing needs mean reversion, it needs to reconsolidate. I'd much rather get in on charts that look like they're just broken out than roofing like they are there. But hey, that's just me. Google maybe falling, rising wedge. Looks okay. But again, I can't see this kind of thing and think, yes, this is the place to be. Like, I could be totally wrong. This might not actually break down. This could be bullish, whatever. But it doesn't look like it wants to keep going to me anyway. Yeah, there's a decent amount of capital that's allocated automatically into this stuff. That certainly helps keep it up, even still, looking at that chart, I just can't. Tesla looks okay, right? Bullish TK cross with price above cloud potentially. Doesn't look horrible. I just don't know. I don't know. It's like, it looks okay. Do I trust the business? Do I like Elon? Not really. But you can't deny that on a trend basis, it might give you a shot there. Cloud has been okay historically. It's been super noisy. It's interesting that we got this like, parabolic down move a couple times. It's recovered. I think it kind of shows you like who's in Tesla. It's like the retail crowd, obviously. Just getting washed out over and over and over again. And then they just get over exuberant on any headline. It's I don't know, it's a difficult chart. Super noisy. Yeah, exactly, Patrick. Like, we're talking about automatic allocations that could care less about price, that just cold, unfeeling. It's a virus, right? It just does its thing. It doesn't care who the host is, and just buys, right? That would be one of the benefits of a crypto Bitcoin ETF, just automatic passive allocations. Why can't I find the daggone cloud? Anyway. Meta looks good, same thing, bullish TK cross, price above cloud. It's sort of regrouped in a way that Apple hasn't. I don't know what happened with Netflix. Jesus. It it looked like it was setting up for a top, head and shoulders, broke down, sort of, then didn't, then stopped you out, and then now looks like it's ready to go again. I don't know, there must have been some news on Netflix today. I don't really know what happened past couple days. I don't know, I haven't been paying attention. You see this stuff, and it certainly helps me get out of a long position. It doesn't necessarily scream short, but if you were, you would have been stopped out. Now the question here is, do you re-enter your short, or you're just sitting this out? I don't know. I mean, there's clearly some sort of channel here, ish. Just like Meta and Facebook and all that other stuff. It doesn't look like it's holding that channel. I don't know. It looks, you'd think, okay, inflation's hot. No one's got any money. They're cutting back on their streaming services. Netflix has gotten kind of crap lately. Like why? Just from a fundamental maybe perspective, who's holding onto their Netflix subscription right now? If money's tight and subscription prices are going up, I don't know. One thing to think about there. The consumer health, and then lastly, just Amazon. We'll take a look. Looks, this looks phenomenal. This is like, is there a div? I guess a little bit of a div, but it had its TK retest, TK bounce, or sorry, Kijun bounce, whatever this is here, and looks okay. I don't know if there's some sort of pattern here necessarily, but you're just measuring maybe the previous. I don't know, looks okay. Maybe it retraces at this current level and you get some sort of, head and shoulders thing. I don't know, but looks good. Plus it's Amazon, they rule the world. Especially with the way retail's going with shrink and security and, everybody wants to stay home. Nobody wants to go to work in an office. I don't blame them. I don't. So I'm right there with you. All right, let's talk about crypto. The exciting stuff. Where do we want to start? I don't think there's any good places. That's the total market cap. Nothing super exciting. I guess we can start with this because I'm in an active short on ETH. Okay. This is my entry right there. Whatever this was. I think it was slightly higher, 16. I think it's actually like 16, 17 or something. Anyway, this is Alligator Fractal. Still leans bearish. It's trying to recover. It surprised me a little bit that we didn't have any follow through on the down moves, especially ETH, because it's just been in this mega consolidation range. But maybe nobody's here. Maybe nobody cares. I don't know. I feel like everybody's been staring at this for so long. The bulls are going to argue that it bounced at support. Everything's fine. The bears are going to say, yeah, but what about this massive thing here? What about this that was clearly support? Very strong reaction to the downside. I don't know. Maybe it's just all liquidity. Anybody here? Does anybody care? People think that like fundamentals matter, but I wish they did. People are still locking ETH up, right? People are still staking. Hasn't seemed to matter. ETH is still burning. Hasn't seemed to matter. It'll matter in a bull market because you have that flywheel effect of just constantly less supply, more demand, but hasn't mattered since they went proof of stake, arguably, right? What was that? Somewhere back here? I think it was September 15th, right? We're kind of right there. still at that price. Hasn't really mattered too much. On the cloud, it's the same for Bitcoin. I want stuff up here. That's where I think it matters from a trend perspective. But ultimately, I don't even look at the cloud anymore on ETH because until we are above, I swear, TradingView changes where everything's at all the time. Or I'm just super dumb and don't remember. I don't think ETH really matters until it's back above 2K. So maybe it just chops around here until after Bitcoin's halving and then makes a move. I just don't know what it's going to take, right? Like, is anybody here? Does anybody care? I don't know. Could be wrong, but I don't see any immediate bullish catalysts for ETH in the near term. ETH BTC also, just there's no there. We can talk about being an ETH maxi and thinking about the fundamentals of ETH versus Bitcoin. It just doesn't matter. And ETH doesn't have a spot ETF coming anytime super soon. So that's also a big consideration. Where are the flows? Where are the imbalance in the flows going to come from? I can't imagine institutional allocators are thinking, yeah, I want to allocate more into ETH over Bitcoin when Bitcoin's getting all the attention right now. On technicals, it looks uninspiring as well, right? Like there's nothing here that says, yes, ETH should beat BTC in the near term. I think above 07 it looks fine, but just not seeing it on on the ETH side. Another thing I've noticed on Kraken is the volumes for the crypto pairs, like the non-stablecoin pairs, have been lower than the tether pairs. I don't know if that's like, I'd have to get data on that, but it seems to be a bearish phenomenon, right? Like people are trading tether over Bitcoin in a big way. Like this is like 2x the volume on the day, right? And that's when Bitcoin's up 2% on the day. So maybe they're just trading, euro weakness. I don't know. Maybe that's, I guess this like is a DXY derivative because dollar is kind of a lot. The DXY, a lot of it is the euro as far as the components are concerned. But I would rather trade this than Bitcoin right now for sure. Look how strong and obvious that looks on the daily. It looks just like the DXY, right? So that's not a good thing. If you're a crypto maxi person like me, you really don't want to see stablecoins getting the attention and all the activity. Anyway, strange to see. Yeah, Nicholas, that's what I said earlier. Everything's going up right now, which is odd. You think something's got to give eventually. I assume the dollar is going to keep its strength, and I assume oil is going to keep its strength. So what's going to break here? You'd think that cryptos and equity stuff would pull back because there's some assumption that the inflation dragon hasn't been slain yet and things are going to get worse and they're going to have to raise again. Yes, they're close to being at the end of their hiking cycle, but if they keep raising, maybe they break something. I don't know. Lots of variables there. But Bitcoin and ETH having a day, right? They are having a day. Just reading chat here. Do I see any concerns for US users using DeFi? No, I don't think there's any risk of losing funds if you're not KYC'd or something. I think that day will come though. I think that there will be KYC AML strictly on all of DeFi in the US. like there is for a lot of products now, where it says, sorry, you're from the US, you were born in the wrong country, friend. Not today, and probably not ever, right? They'll just say, we don't want to deal with you. Sayonara. Many exchanges have already done that on the DeFi side, right? So that wouldn't be unusual. Do I think they're just going to like lock you out of your funds? Probably not. I mean, I certainly hope not. There would be ways to get around that, if that were the case. Anyway, so that was ETH. I guess let's talk about BTC. Again, a little bit surprised we haven't seen more of a down reaction on those lows. I don't know what to think about this market right now, There's too much. The problem is my mind is crowded with like the possibility of some sort of news event, like I said, Binance, some ETF announcement, I don't know, this could go on for months, right? It could be April 2024 and Binance is still like, dealing with DOJ stuff. SEC still hasn't approved an ETF. So I don't think there's anything's like super, super clear in the near term on direction here, but trend metrics objectively are bearish at the moment. They get bullish at 28. It doesn't mean, we won't keep ranging. This whole thing could just be, as I struggle to find the channel tool, this whole thing could just be a massive range now, right? That we're just stuck in, and this is our lives. This is our lives in a bear market until we get some announcement from something, right? It's just not a lot going on across the board. Not a lot going on. Small uptick in volume. DCA and pray, like I say, just DCA and pray. The uptrend we had, as weak as it may have been, was decent and fun and tradable, and we had patterns and all sorts of fun stuff. Now it's just super liquid. Any given day it could be plus or minus 5%. That's kind of what it feels like anyway. I don't know if you guys feel the same, but it just feels like not much is going on right now across the board. On the weekly though, I guess not to be a turbo downer all the time. On the weekly, we could start to get into the cloud here. And just say, you know what? The cloud's usually right on its edge-to-edge trades. This could be it. This could be the one. For some reason, Kraken tosses the cloud, in the cloud, the price into the cloud there, but not on TradingView. So I'm not really sure what that's about on the weekly, but if we can close this week higher than last week's wick and we can get into the cloud, maybe that's all we need. Maybe I'm just too bearish. I'm not a believer. Yeah, Alex, FTX is going to liquidate those assets. It's kind of a clickbaity headline. They are going to liquidate everything slowly over time. I think the market, when there's no volume or liquidity, it's going to matter a lot more. But I don't think it's going to be as bearish necessarily as people may assume it's going to be. I'm not one of these people who thinks it's going to be bullish selling or anything, but I just don't think it's going to be that big of a deal for the bigger coins. I don't know how they're going to sell their FTT. I don't know why they even gave that a value. Is that even traded anymore? KuCoin has it. It's at $1. Yeah, I don't know how. Like stuff like this, how do you get rid of that? Who wants to take the other side of that trade in an OTC deal? Maybe you could say they're going to rebuild the exchange and relaunch 2.0 and the token will be the same. I don't know. I think that's your most bullish case for FTT, but things like that they have to sell, probably an issue. Solana, they have a lot of it. A lot of it's locked up. It's not exactly as black and white maybe as it seems. But I think people are starting to price that in, This, at least I would be. I'm thinking, yeah, I don't want Solana until 10. I want to see some mega down puke. I want to see some anger. So far it's just been kind of dripping lower. Just not a lot of anger yet outside of what happened post FTX collapse. But yeah, it's one to pay attention to for sure. I don't think they'll have any problem selling the BTC. I think they're probably excited that they get to sell that because it's easy to sell. So I don't think they're worried about that. It's the other little stuff like FTT or maybe even Matic. I think they had some of that as well. That that's a chart and a half right there. There are a lot of charts, by the way, that looks like this. BNB looks like this. Doge looks like this. Anything that's kind of pre-2021 has a chart that looks like this because everything just went straight up, right? And it's just kind of went sideways. I don't think the FTX Matic sells are going to matter, but it just doesn't look like, it's harder to sell into this kind of market where there's nobody here, volume's low, it's already bearish. You have to be super careful about not pulling the market lower already. Look at that volume on Binance. Just nobody, absolutely nobody. I guess Kraken, the volume's a little bit better. But yeah, that would be a concern. If I was tasked with selling coins for a chart that looks like this, you can always just, time average sell it, which is, I'm sure, what they're partially going to do anyway. But what you want to see for this stuff, you want to see all of this stuff like pop up, right? As I'm looking at this, maybe this is a falling wedge. Maybe it'll get a div here. I don't know, but I assume any pop up, they're going to start selling. That's what I assume for any of this stuff, right? I think they will have that time weighted average price, TWAP selling, but I think they will also put a ceiling on all this stuff, at least whatever they're able to sell for the week, right? I think it was like 100 million a week, maybe USD. And then there's Curve. Have you guys seen what's been going on with Curve? It, I guess Binance is the best. Yeah, I think, Joey, effectively they will be shorting the pops by selling, spot. So Curve had the hack, right? And it had issues with that massive loan from one of the founders. The founder had to sell a bunch of coin for collateral to a bunch of OTC counterparties that had like this handshake deal at 40 cents. I think one of the guys actually sold today at around 40 cents. Maybe it was like, maybe he is the bottom currently, but man, I just can't imagine wanting to get into Curve, knowing that there's these whales that I just can't wait to get out, right? Interesting situation. I love Curve, I love the protocol, but yeah, I think the token is in trouble here in the near term until that stuff cleanses itself through the ecosystem. Yeah, we can talk about MSTR. I haven't looked at that one in a while. I think kind of like Coin, which I'll bring up just because I haven't looked at it in a minute. Coin has had this, multi-month bottoming process that popped out of in July. It looks okay, it looks sideways, uninspired. It kind of gave back all those gains. It looks okay. Maybe this is a throwback, I don't hate it. It's just hard to be bullish anything super crypto adjacent right now when the rest of crypto isn't super bullish. So it's probably a good DCA play if you're bullish, post halving. But I think in the moment, it's just kind of meh all around. No, Nicholas, I don't think they've started selling yet. But I think they probably will very, very soon. Within the next week, I'd imagine, on the FTX side of things. Sure, one of the chain analysis folks are going to be calling them out all over the place on Twitter. So that's Bitcoin, that's ETH. What else do you guys want to look at? I don't know, everything's just kind of sad right now. Didn't you share a chart of cash going into money markets? Yeah, so money market funds in the United States are at an all-time high at 6 trillion. And I mean, I've got money in money markets. I've got money in T-bills, like 5%. I mean, you can get 5% on Coinbase through USDC right now. Like that is an attractive offer when we're waiting for rates to come down. We're waiting for regulation. We're waiting for halving. We're waiting for the BlackRock ETF, right? We're waiting for all this stuff. And sure, you can DCA on lows. You can buy the dip. You can do whatever you want long term. Near term, though, that yield is pretty attractive for doing literally nothing. XMR. Yeah, I think that's one that's actually, I think Kraken might be the only place you can get that in the United States, which is scary, because if it gets kicked off of Kraken for whatever legal reason, you're kind of SOL. Even though I know Monero has a bunch of like DEXs and stuff. It looks okay on the weekly. Certainly not bullish. Looks like I'm drawing in some sort of head and shoulders on low time frames. I don't know. I think everything just looks meh because who's here buying this stuff, right? There's us 10 people who are here who can't ever do anything else with their life. Everybody else has moved on in the moment, But yeah, XMR unfortunately does not look great on the daily. It's neutral at best, I'd say. But nothing super exciting. Maybe XMR or BTC. What does that look like? Oh, there we go. There's a chart. Looks like I drew in some sort of inverted head and shoulders there that's still active on the daily. I kind of mentioned this the other day in one of the videos, but if you're looking for like alpha in a bear market, one of the ways to do that is to trade. This isn't an odd pair, but just don't trade the USD pairs. Trade something that you can grow your Bitcoin stack or you can grow your ETH stack. I think this looks really good. It's probably the best chart I've seen in a long time in the crypto side of things. Does it make a lot of sense based on what's going on in the market? Not really, but that chart looks phenomenal. Yeah, it looks really, really good. I should tweet about that for the clout. I gotta remind myself. Monero BTC. Because I'm old and I forget. Yes, injective. We will take a look. Gospateg. The one injective enjoyer. Looks like my notes on this are still active. Double top and or neutral ranging. Volume still down. If you're bullish on this, you want to see it above 850, but ultimately you want to see it make higher highs, right? And for me, a stop loss on this would be somewhere at like 560, something like that. If I was a believer in holding this thing and didn't want to become a community member, that's where I'd let go of it. the biggest of the coins. I don't know what INJ is. All I know is Gosp always asks me to look at this, and I have no idea. Still don't have any idea. But it's on Kraken if you want to trade it. Is there anything else in the altcoin land that's worth looking at? Not margin. Oh, Link. I mean, Link is kind of a forever sideways at the moment. I think this will break out one day. I'm just not confident when exactly that's going to happen. You know, set an alert, ignore it, collect your 5% yield, get in at 850 or whatever. I don't know. It looks okay. It doesn't look bearish, super bearish, right? It looks neutral. Looks like it wants to go higher eventually. Is there anything else? I mean, some of this stuff looks, I keep talking about AVAX because I just know a lot of people were kind of super bullish on these layer ones. And it's just no one's really using it. Nobody's holding it. I don't know what to tell you. People were bullish on sidechain subnets idea. I think that's kind of also not panned out exactly how people wanted it to. So yeah, it's tough for any layer one that isn't ETH or BTC right now. You know, what's your value accrual method? Sure, we'll look at INJ BTC. We'll do it for the memes. Is it even? Hold on. That's not even a pair on this. I have to go make it. We will do it. Do it for the memes. INJ BTC. Yeah, I mean, doesn't look horrible, right? You could argue ascending triangle. You could argue bullish breakout potentially. You could argue some sort of weird looking inverted head and shoulders thingamajig. You know, looks okay. Looks okay. No, you're right. It is kind of at highs. Do I know what it is? Am I going to trade it? No. But the chart looks pretty good, right? You know, what you don't want to see is what you saw before the breakdown. Anything remotely close to the opposite of what we're seeing now, I just can't be bullish on this. But this looks decently okay. So, you know, I don't hate it. I do not hate it. Would I bet the farm on it? No, but it looks okay. Can I look at perp USDT? What in the what? Sure, I hope this is the right one. Oh baby. What happened there? What did you do? I believe the term pump and dump is what comes to mind here with this chart. I don't know. I mean, if it's on Binance and this sort of thing's happening, kind of makes sense, kind of tracks, you know? Binance is, you're going to see weird things on Binance. I think the Wyckoff people would say that maybe this is Wyckovian. I don't know. I'd be very terrified to see that straight up, straight down. I don't know what happened there. Okay, that makes sense. Agioth, whatever. He said he fat fingered it, guys. We found the culprit. Yeah, I don't know. I would stay far away from anything that looks like that personally. Yeah, no, Gosp is right. If you're just trading technicals, what do you care what the coin is, right? If the chart looks good, right? If XMR BTC looks good, you know, like that's an option, right? It's a place to trade a chart that looks pretty good noisy, it's messy. Doesn't look horrible. Yeah, that perp chart, I guess I should look at that volume, huh? Yeah, I mean, guys, I don't know. I don't know if that's real or not. Back in 2018, I think it was. I might be misremembering some of these details, but there were accounts that were getting hacked via API, basically. And so they would have these accounts like buy some random illiquid altcoin. And on the other side of that, they would have orders like, like this, right? Like 10x higher or something. So that on the hacked account, they would be buying this. And then on some other account, they would have orders ready to sell. So kind of like manufacturing a pump and dump and then taking advantage of that. And seeing volume like this kind of reminds me of that. I think it was 2018 where this is happening. It happened like 3 times at least on 3 different coins on Binance. What up, Aro Anora? He or she has been a fan since 2018. Look at that. Vet BTC. I think somebody had me look at this. Is this some AI play? Yeah, okay. Have they been around that long? Or did they just rebrand? There's no way they've been around since 2019 with an AI ticker. There's no way. Yeah, okay, you made me look at it last time. I think I compared this to like BAT or something, right? Because it's like ranging. I don't know, it looks okay. It's nothing I would touch. I don't think it's anything that's in a range like this to me is just neutral, and I'd rather trade something that has strength. That isn't to say like above this level it looks better, because it does, but I'm just looking zoomed out. To me there's clearly some sort of ceiling here at whatever level this is. So sure, maybe you trade it from here to here and you get out. I don't know, but doesn't look super strong. Looks neutral. I don't have anything great to say about that. What do you think of crypto miner tickers on the daily? Well, let's take a look at WGMI, the Bitcoin mining ETF, shall we? Miners are tough because they are short difficulty, they're short energy costs, they are long regulatory clarity, they are long, I guess they're kind of short geographic distribution in a sense, like they want to keep their slice of the pie. And, halving's coming up, so that's tough, but I don't hate this. I don't have much good to say. It's below the daily cloud, so that's automatically kind of like a be careful signal. Maybe there's a bull div here. Does it look bearish enough for me to buy? Probably not. I just don't have a lot of confidence on any of that stuff. Riot, looks like Riot's up a bunch today. Clean Spark's up a bunch today. Marathon's up a little bit. Just looking at the list. It's very tough, the mining stuff. The other part of it too is I don't think anybody trading this on Wall Street institutional level really understands what Bitcoin mining even is. So, keep that in mind. They'll understand the business as far as the numbers go, but I don't think they really get what's going on here. You've also got some sort of channel-ish. I don't know. I would like Clean Spark, WGMI better above the cloud. They look okay. As far as, you know, I don't know. They're kind of in the middle of the road for me. They're not trending. They trended super hard for the past beginning of the year, right? The first half of the year. Now it's just kind of, I don't know. Doesn't look great. Doesn't look terrible. Favorite coin RVST. Where do you guys even find, like, honest question, where are we finding stuff like this? Is this even a chart? It's just funny that people are like come in here and ask about them. The most random stuff that I've never heard of. I've been here since 2013 and I haven't heard of a lot of this stuff. Maybe I'm just like old man yelling at cloud or I don't understand what's going on. I have no idea what to say about this. Ranging, unexciting, like it better above this level. I don't know what that would be. Can we do times ETH USD? Would that give us I don't know, man. I don't know. Flat, neutral, sideways. If you're buying a chart that looks like this, you know, I think you're thinking that eventually this goes higher, right? Obviously. So one way you could think about where this might go is just measure using fibs. You know, here's the high, here's the low. 14 cents. I don't know. I don't really know too much what's going on there. Binance IEO. Oh, is that why I don't know about it? RVST. There you go. Just reading chat. BJJ, what's up, my man? Still here cranking out the content. Just doing what I'm doing every day anyway, right? Just looking at charts. If you're a long ETH holder with no intention of doing anything, do you see any problems with holding a staked product? I don't think so. Like there's some catastrophic centralization concerns with Lido, right? But if you're in it for the long haul, I think that's just a binary outcome, right? If Lido takes down the chain, having something staked isn't really going to be your first concern, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm sure there are a lot of people. They're just going to stake and get rich, bro. That's what they're doing, which is fine, but I think it's having an effect on ETH price for sure. All right, we're coming up on an hour. I wish I was more exciting. Wish I had more to talk about. I don't really have much to say. Really concerned about the dollar. I really wish that we'd have some clarity on what's going on here with Binance. To me, it feels like the market is kind of waiting for a shoe to drop here. It has been for weeks. So it's hard to get excited about anything, kind of knowing that there's this looming bad news potentially. You know, I don't know what's going on with Binance, but I think that's all I got for today. Unless anybody has anything last minute requests. We did talk about Tesla. Wayne, we talked about it earlier, but looks okay. I mean, it's noisy. You've got a lot of retail interest here, so you're gonna have a lot of sloshing around. It is bullish on trend metrics though, right? It completely collapsed and recovered, so that's impressive. Looks okay. Really does look okay. No problem, Sidharth. last ECB. Yeah, the euro absolutely got walloped, didn't it? Let me find a place where we can look at that real quick. It's kind of just inverse Dixie, right? But again, you would think seeing anything that looks like this is not a bullish sign. And you know, maybe it's some sort of megaphone thing. I don't know, but I just I get worried on any chart that looks like that. Right? Maybe you draw it like this. I don't know. Do whatever you want to do with that, but yeah, doesn't look bullish. I remember the last time I was bullish euro was here, right? You're getting all these signs for something higher. But here the euro just looks ready. Looks like it's ready to, like you're ready to take a vacation to Euroland again if you're in the US, because the euro probably getting smacked by the dollar for sure. This was another time I was bearish euro just because of this, right? Just a slow bleed, but I can't imagine euro's going to turn it around anytime soon. Anyway, euro procession, yeah, I mean, as bad as things are in the US, based on the numbers, they are way worse everywhere else. So BJJ, I will do a volume discussion next week for the Tuesday video. I tend to avoid the volume stuff because a lot of the volume is nonsense in crypto. But if you're on like Kraken, for example, like that volume I trust because it's a US onshore exchange. I can trust that. Something that isn't onshore, or that's margin, or, you know, I'm not going to throw any specific exchanges under the bus, but it's harder to trust that volume because you're just not sure. Most of the time I look at I look at the index for Bitcoin, right? I don't actually know what TradingView uses for the index, but I assume it isn't loaded with all the stuff I would want it to be. So I kind of just ignore volume a lot of the time. But one last example with Ethereum, you know, I was talking about this a lot and continue to talk about it. Volume is really going to be the deciding factor here on whether or not this thing has a chance. In 2015 with Bitcoin, we had a similar type of scare where we pulled back a lot, kind of broke the pattern, and eventually saved itself. I'm just not convinced we have the people here in the market right now to care about this, right? With any pattern, any Kumo breakout, anything, you usually always want to see volume on your side. So as bearish as breaking the pattern is, we still really haven't seen bearish volume come in to confirm this. So it's kind of in the middle of the road from that perspective. Anyway, guys, I think that's it for me today. I'll talk about volume next week. And yeah, if you like the stream, subscribe or don't, or dislike, I don't care, right? It doesn't matter to me. But I'll be here every Thursday, 2 o'clock Eastern, from now until the end of time. That's all I got. Thanks, guys. Take care.